Thanks for tuning in to part 2 of our Wild Finca episode, recorded in northern Spain with our lovely friends Katie and Luke. In part 2, we visit their beautiful cattle and ponies and look at some of the diverse habitat mosaics they've created. We hear a grasshopper warbler and talk about apex predators returning to their area. Last time we were here, this was playing on your mind a bit, this bit of land, wasn't it? Because it was this bright green, improved patch that you could see from your land but didn't belong to you yet.
Yeah, so this we called it the island because it was a piece of land that was for sale from the moment we bought Wild Finca, but for a bit of a crazy price. And there was actually a bit of misunderstanding. So he was selling this and some other land, which he sold for a much cheaper price. But there's a plot of the other lands that I thought was his, so that made it unaffordable because he wanted to sell it all together. And then it turned out that that plot wasn't his. We only found out like the day before we signed. So that dropped the price considerably, so it made it more affordable. And then we had a very kind donation as well to help on this patch.
Amazing.
So we were able to buy it. Because as you can see, so we were just stood the other side of it, but this is smack back in the middle, and we legally had to give access. So we had tractors coming through twice a year. They sprayed it very heavily all along the boundary.
Hence the sort of neon green colour.
Yes, and grazed it very heavily. So since we've taken it on, I think we got it the winter after you guys last visited.
Amazing.
So this is the second summer we're going into of having it. We did cut it for hay last year because it was so heavily grazed. It's very high nutrients, we think.
So you sort of cut and collected to take that nutrient off?
And made it into hay, which then we use that hay for bale grazing.
Amazing.
So you take it into the scrubby areas in winter. And we probably will do that again this year, but then we think we won't ever cut it again.
Okay.
We're just going to see because we're not sure. I mean, on the rewilding side of things, obviously a traditional hay meadow isn't rewilding. But then you could argue, hay meadows have been going on definitely since the Bronze Age, I think, probably since before then, right? So it's something that, there's a suite of species that benefit. I mean, look at all the butterflies. I've seen 3 or 4 species of butterflies just
sitting around here,
But yeah, so we planted up the sides, so you can see actually the hazel's growing really quick. So I think there's like quite a few hazel along the side. We laid the blackthorn and the elder, so that's coming up. There's spindle, dogwood, hawthorn, blackthorn, and some willow, I think a fig or 2 as well along each side, and then you can't see it. Well, you can kind of see there's that divot. I put a clay-lined pond in there as well. So considering before it was just like a postage stamp of green with no real diversity at all. It's changed a lot. I've put this fence in just because we were doing the hay, but that will come down if we decide not to cut it for hay again after this summer. But I don't know enough about it. Maybe you guys know more, but I think we've taken hay off and it doesn't look... When you're in it, it's a bit more diverse. There's knapweed and stuff coming through. Yeah, you can see down.
I was just thinking, actually, there are, there's flowers in there, so it's good sort of nectar and pollen sources in there.
Yeah.
And all around the edge, obviously, where you've planted it up and let things grow, you've got all those lovely blossoms in the spring. So I think it's elder in flower at the moment. Again, fantastic nectar sources. And come the winter, be full of fruit for migrating birds. Yeah, so that's what's always really interesting. I see the nightingales feeding on elderberries, and you just think they're so insectivorous, and then you see them chowing down on elderberries. I mean, this is in September time. Yeah, so getting ready for their migration south. Yeah. And
so that was our kryptonite in more ways than one, because that's the colour it was. It was so nutrient-rich, like glowing green. Another species of butterfly there. Who's number 5? Some kind of skipper or something.
It does look like a skipper, actually. To get the book out later.
Yeah. But so the main thing of this is like now, from when you were last here, Wild Finca is like one continuous block. There's no kind of interference like that. So the only real edge effects at the minute we have is there's now a new island at the top there that we're currently negotiating on securing, and then our neighbours. That's the other edge effect area. But in terms of when the animals are in this area, there's a pond here, there's a pond just the other side I've put in as well. So you've got a real mix of, like I said earlier, a pond in every single block minimum,
Fantastic. So it's got a good place for livestock to come and drink, but really good for wildlife as well.
Yeah.
Well, it's so nice to see this now compared to how it was before, and I can see sort of where we were sitting when we were looking at it last time. And I think we had nightingale croaking down in this direction,
exactly. So
didn't we?
So I mean, this is a really nice spot, and we've had, not this year, but when there was the big drought, we had corn bunting, which might have been the year you came.
Yeah, I think you said that locally there was like no water left, and people having to sort of bring in water once a week.
Yeah.
Oh, swift swooping low, catching insects.
Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, coming
Lovely.
in. So yeah, now this is kind of coming into its own, which is really nice. And I mean, one of my big things, not just like educating the kids, is I hate it, but I love taking down fencing. So I think that's the other nice thing, that like when you get these wild edges coming up, you know, this blackthorn here is encroaching across. The brambles coming this way. I can't wait to have to I'll have to take out the... I'll probably leave the old fence posts in, because shrikes and owls and stuff love perching on them.
It's a great idea.
But all the other stuff, so to speak, I'll
remove.
Yeah, when it's all natural, and like most of what you see now, like all the way up to the top, when it becomes like the human zone, that's all kind of just natural. And like when you sit here, actually, it's really wonderful when you see the different textures and the habitats between us. You know, that's 150 metres, let's say, up to the building at the top there.
There's a lot going on, isn't there? Because you've got these little rocky outcrops, you've got lots of scrub, sort of long grass, sort of shorter grass where the cattle have probably been through fairly recently. It's so lovely. Some mature trees. It's a good mix of different things going on here.
And we're kind of at another advantage in terms of how quickly stuff grows. It's amazing when you like take the foot off cutting and stuff. So yes, the brambles grow a lot as well, but there's like a maple there, sycamore and birch. They just shot up, like you almost don't notice them shooting up, and now they're 8 foot high. That are just coming up through the scrub.
Do you do like time-lapse photography here to show the changes?
I should do. Luckily we've done it by accident, so we've got quite a few shots accidentally like that. Katie actually did an Instagram post today of it that was exactly that, of kind of just shots that we take of the land and us, and I guess it's the bones of it not being a large site, that you kind of seen like here's a natural open area, a normal place to sit, so you take a picture. And then you realise, I've taken this picture 10 times before.
And look at the changes. I mean, that's such a good way, you know, if people are looking to do rewilding projects, however small or large, you know, doing fixed point photography, whether accidental or not, it's a really nice way of showing how things change over time, because it creeps and changes without you realising. And before you know it, you've got something much wilder than when you started.
Yeah, no, it is quite incredible. And like you say, like when we put the cattle in here, there's certain bits they really hit hard. And I guess it's a tastier, lusher grass. And other bits, so you're starting to have like this, where this fennel's coming up. I think it's cock's foot. But you get like the cock's foot tussocks. Yeah. They don't really go for that so much. So you get these really lovely tussocks. And then I don't know what the other grasses are, but like then they hit the grass around. So you have this, again, going back to like the city, the three-dimensional effect. It's not this carpet of green that people think that's what you should have. You know, I don't know if you saw when you arrived, our neighbours got the tractor with the topper on the back, so I assume this afternoon or tomorrow they're going to come in and do our neighbour's field with the topper. And I was explaining, because Rowan loves tractors, what it was on the back yesterday, and he asked why, because it's this strange thing that you go in to take out that 3 dimension, but our cows don't care. And as our vet said to us, we recently got them vaccinated for this new disease that's taken hold here, and I kind of said what we're doing. I said, but the neighbours think we're a bit crazy. And she said, well, whether you're doing it for nature or not, all you have to do is let them look at your cows, look how fat your cows are, and that's like proof that you're doing something right.
Absolutely.
And I thought that was quite a nice non-nature way of looking at it.
Yeah, definitely.
People think we're crazy, but we got
happy
obese,
and healthy.
well, not obese cows, I guess that would be wrong. Exactly, healthy, chunky cows.
Happy, healthy livestock, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Great. Well, I think the kids are on their way back from school, so there's going to be some noise in a minute, but we're going to go back out again this evening, I think.
Yeah, see what we can find.
See what we can find at dusk.
And I'm sure we'll check if the boys want to come out before then.
Of course. We'll fantastic. Okay, see you in a bit. So in amongst all of the croaking frogs, hopefully the listeners can hear the lovely sort of reeling sound, like a bike wheel going round, of the Grasshopper Warbler.
Yeah, constant, whirring, I guess.
So,
Grasshopper Warbler.
It's like some people say like a bike wheel going
a football
round.
Rattle.
If you remember Spooky Dokies.
I think a bit before my time.
Oh,
I don't know.
I'll show my people. We used to put things in our spokes of our wheels, and when you go round, it makes this amazing.
Okay, Rain does this annoying thing where he shoves a plastic bottle underneath his mudguard. It sounds like a motocross bike. I mean, the Grasshopper Warbler sounds much nicer.
It does. Well, this is an amazing sound and something we don't really hear much of. Certainly not in Sussex anymore, where we're from. They're pretty much all but extinct as a breeding bird.
Wow.
I think there's a few hanging on, but to hear that now is such a magical sound, and it's indicative, I think, of what you're doing here. So what kind of habitat are we hearing this Grasshopper Warbler in?
These guys, so we're really lucky that is the bird that really has increased, and they always turn up amazingly early, like mid-March, which always really shocks me for a migrant. Well, I mean, they must have to go some pretty horrid weather, even crossing over from Morocco.
Sure.
Well, I'm not sure where they go, because I had friends the other day that work down there, and they said they very, very rarely see Grasshopper Warbler. So I'm not actually sure on their migratory route. But yeah, they turn up really early, and normally they actually turn up we have something called the Kalima. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. It's basically, that every now and it hits the UK, it's like the Saharan dust cloud.
Oh, yeah.
That gets blown up, and that also is and I remember when our second son was born, so he was born middle of February, and he must have been about a month old, and I had him strapped to my back, and he's fast asleep, and it was that Kalima, so it was like really weird, eerie, like the sky's like orange. And it was one of those moments that every single time I lifted my binoculars, it was a Grasshopper Warbler. We had like a fall of Grasshopper Warblers.
Oh, wow. That's been amazing.
And they just, they scurry about like a mouse. They don't really, I mean, you see them fly distances, but in terms of like hopping around, they hit and then they scurry about with that like spoon tail as well. It was like a mouse's tail. But yeah, so now we have 3 pairs. So up there it's calling from kind of, I guess, the thorny scrub. That's really, really thick, dense gorse. With kind of like bramble, blackthorn, what else is up there? Mediterranean buckthorn, dog rose, fringes. But like I just said to you, those bramble pillows there, it was reeling from there. I know there's definitely a pair breeding over here in the kind of like honeysuckle and dog rose. So they only call when they haven't got chicks. So I think this is second brood. So they start calling when they turn up middle of March, then they stop, and now we're kind of on to round 2. So only this guy's reeling at the minute, but if we go over there, they're quite easy to spot at the minute. They're very active feeding the chicks and like heading. I mean, there's that open stretch, so they're crossing back and forth feeding, and then every few minutes returning back into that really thick, dense bit. And then last year I had a pair right next to the path over there.
Amazing.
So they're doing really well, and it's a bird that locally you hear them on the coast, but you don't. Unfortunately, we have a real problem with burning here of this kind of scrubby land. And there was a big government-sanctioned fire up here, middle of April, and luckily now one of the like ecological action parties has actually they've opened disciplinary proceedings against the government for it because it was legal, but should never have been given permission. And for 100% there would have been Grasshopper Warblers, or maybe not because it gets burned relatively regularly. This hasn't been burnt in the time we've been here.
No.
So it's minimum 7 years growth. Really thick, spiky growth with nice grassy bits in between.
Lovely tussocky bits, and really nice sort of vegetation there, and loads of insects, I should think, which obviously. Yeah,
I mean, I assume they do. They're called Grasshopper Warblers because they sound like a grasshopper, right? But I assume they probably feed on grasshoppers.
They probably feed on lots of little insects, don't they? Which they'll be finding lots of in all of your blossom.
But no, it's really it's a brilliant noise, and they just don't stop. Like, I don't know if you've noticed in the evening. I mean, it rained last night, but. You hear them really very early in the morning and quite late at night, and sometimes I've woken up in the middle of the night and you've got like tawny owl calling, and then you hear a reeling, that's the word I was looking at, reeling grasshopper, Grasshopper Warbler, which is pretty amazing. Obviously it's stopped now, but no, it's a wonderful bird to have, and it's one of those, I don't know if you'd call them scrub specialists because they like that thorny scrub, but they do need the open areas, I think, as well. They like isolated scrub, but then we've got birds that typically are very quiet at the minute. Melodious Warbler, that's the other one that's really like done well.
That has been singing all day. Now we've come out.
And I mean, I'm not sure how many we have, but every bit of scrub has got a Melodious Warbler in. And again, as our scrub has grown, the Melodious Warbler population has grown as well. It's quite funny because it's called Melodious Warbler, but I don't think it's that melodious in its song. It's quite scratchy, not very nice.
Yeah, it's kind of more like a kind of reed warblery kind of song,
I guess,
isn't it? It's quite scratchy.
A bit slower than a reed warbler. Yeah, but my son the other day, he stopped and he said, "What's that pretty song?" And I was like, oh, interesting you should say that, because it's a melodious warbler. And then I had to explain what like melodious meant. But I said, I don't think it's very melodious, but it's good that you think it's pretty.
That's cool. Well, that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, how...
So if you compare it to something like a really rich, fluty song of the blackcap or the nightingale or the blackbird.
Yeah, those kind of... That's melodious. It's like music, right? But, I mean, it's like people liking classical music and people liking techno music, I guess.
Yeah.
It's all...
Different tastes.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So we're just going to head through to the other side of the project. We're going to check on the cattle, aren't we?
Yeah, the cattle and the horses, which are over in like Block C, so to speak. So we're, I guess, 3 continuous blocks of land. And then what we're going to walk into now is coming up to a 3-hectare block, I guess. We're currently negotiating to basically take on the last bit, and then we'll own all of that, which would be really nice, because at the minute there is a bit of edge effect going on. But yeah, this is quite interesting. We've been talking a lot off mic about like grazing schedules and regimes, and it's very important for us to have the livestock, but it's also, we're learning as we go, it's very weather led, but then also species led, how many mouths we can have. Because of the size of the project, we can't have lots and lots of animals, because we have wet winters. Some of the land is completely out of bounds almost to livestock, because they just churn it up too much. So now we have this issue that it's like warm and humid, so stuff's growing a lot, and it probably could do with being grazed a bit harder, but we only have 6-7 mouths, 8 maximum. So at the minute we've got 3 cows with a calf, so 4 cows, I guess 3.5, let's say. He is feeding now on solids, let's say. And we've got 3 horses. We have 4 horses in total, but one's away at the moment. So we have the Casina cattle, which are like Asturian mountain cattle. They've been around at least since the Bronze Age. And then Asturcón horses, which again, Pliny the Elder, the Roman naturalist, wrote about. So they're both autochthonous, local, ancient breeds. So hardy, very good. The cattle are very small, horned cattle, and they do a great job. But we can only have so many because of what the land can take for most of the year.
Yes.
But actually now we could do with having
a few
them,
more mouths to do some munching.
We're about to go in. They've now been in there for 2 weeks, 1 day, which is kind of unheard of if anyone's heard me talk about it before. Normally I do very quick rotations.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm experimenting, because at the moment there's bits that, I mean, we were saying, but some bits you could argue. Well, should we go over there and look?
Yeah, let's go and have a little walk over there. Well, here we are. You could hear that, a crunching, munching pony. So here we are up by 3 beautiful, very dark brown, almost black ponies. They're quite little, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, the pair, that one, she is the smallest. Or Panch, maybe, actually. He's the roundest. And then Fumo over there, he's the oldest. And he's also pure Asturcón, but obviously the biggest. He's like much taller. Probably about 1 metre. She's probably 1 metre 2 maximum on the shoulder. So yeah, they're small, ponies, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, the horses, but ponies.
But perfect for this environment, aren't they?
Yeah,
for a little
short-legged, exactly. Kind of, very hardy.
Yeah, hardy.
Can be scampering about. Even up there on Swever, you see them. Oh, Hobby just went over.
Oh, I missed it. Always.
Over the top. But yeah, so here they've been in here for 2 weeks, 1 day, and it depends who you ask. But exactly where we're stood, you could say this is overgrazed. But I don't know, what is this? 40 square? No, a bit more than 40 square metres, isn't it? 10 by 10, 100 square metres of close graze. It's ribwork, plantain and yarrow coming through, but this whole area is very shallow soil. You can see the limestone outcrops just over there, but they love this spot and they hit it really hard. But then the other bits that we're going to walk up to, even though they've been in here for 2 weeks, like if we go up there, it's like almost like they haven't even been in here. So this is the tricky thing, that we're trying to get this balance of, obviously we don't want to overgraze, but this 2 week period has been a bit of an experiment for me to see. They're still feeding on it, as you can see.
They're finding forage here, aren't they? And I love sort of seeing this bare earth and the scuffed up, hoofed up bits. This is really good for basking insects and that.
They love rolling in it as well. But yeah, and also wryneck. This is our kind of most favoured spot by the wryneck. So we thought wrynecks were declining here, and then this year we've had the April wave of migratory wryneck, and then we've had them calling up until last week, second wave. So we think they must be breeding.
They've gone quiet now.
They've gone quiet now.
Yeah.
But they're calling every single day. And obviously they need this. They don't want the long grass up there. And if we walk around the corner, here come the cows. If we walk around the corner, there is a good amount of anthills appearing now as well, which is really nice.
What the wryneck will be feeding on.
Exactly, their favoured thing. And this is where we had the honey buzzards displaying over these trees. So it's pretty undisturbed. We have regular wild boar, roe deer. Last year roe deer gave birth at pretty much around this time, because we got on the camera trap on, I think, June the 14th or something like that for a really little one. And then it was really nice because we were able to follow them on the camera trap basically until October. We were still seeing her with her fawn. But yeah, I've seen her around quite rotund, so I assume she's dropping. So I guess people can't see this, but so you've got these like open bits, hazel. So this is another plot the other side that we technically we have access to. We don't own it yet. Again, I always say we're in negotiation. I think they want to sell, but they haven't named a price yet, unfortunately. So it's like fringed by hazel.
Yeah.
And then some walnut through it. And there's actually some quite old, probably 40, 50-year-old oak trees on the back of there. And then that goes up onto where the Grasshopper Warbler was, or is. And then these bramble pillows kind of all throughout it. And then more open grassland up there.
It's a real matrix, isn't it, of different things going on here. And I think that's what makes it so interesting from like a biodiversity point of view, but also for us, when we're walking around in a relatively small area, we've got this huge diversity in different habitats, and that feeling of, it does feel wild here. Do you know? We can see the house, but it still feels really wild and just beautiful. I love it.
For this bit, for sure, like you say, you can see the house, but you walk another 20 metres that way around the corner, and there's a spot even further up, another kind of 60 metres around the corner where you can sit and you can't see any buildings or anything. And you really could think you're in the middle of the mountains, in the middle of nowhere. But I think the wildlife feels like, there's no, in hunting season, the odd hunter comes through when I haven't spotted them to shoo them away, and the odd loose hunting dog. But there's no disturbance by people. So I think that helps on the kind of honey buzzard, if that is kind of prospecting, because it was displaying and had food and was showing the female. There was actually 2 females and a male. But from my reading, it probably means they'll come in next year. They might be setting up territory. But those trees, apart from when we come through here, it's completely undisturbed. No one's really coming through here. And I think the wildlife knows that. Yeah. That's kind of what I was saying about them.
Oh, hello.
They're coming to give you a little...
Hello. Oh, that's such a beauty.
They're really nice. They can be quite wild. So we got her way too early. I got her when she was 3 months old. So it took a lot to tame her down, and you wouldn't know how wild she was. I built a little corral, and I used to sit in there, and Katie was like a Asturcón widow. She was in the house, and I was sat...
the other woman.
Yeah, I was sat in the corner trying to get her tame, and I can even get close to her. I can touch her. If you touch her, it's like you'd shocked her with electricity. And now you wouldn't know. She's actually our tamest horse, I'd say. Really loves the cuddles. And Albus can actually ride her. With
really?
With a rope on.
Good size, yeah.
Which is nice. Yeah, perfect for a 3-year-old.
Really lovely, yeah.
So we've got this. I love it, this side. It is... I don't know, because I think Dave asked me the other day, what do I want of Wild Finca, in terms of habitat? And we don't really know. We want a mosaic. But then when I walk through this, I'm always like, maybe is this what we want? But I don't know, what would you describe it? Wood pasture, but it's not really wood pasture. It's not really savanna. But then, working in Zambia a lot, there's a few bits where, that ash there, that looks perfect to have a leopard kind of hanging from the trees. And then you've got these patches, then these open bits. But then if you turn around, it's very different to the bit where we've kind of been exploring the last couple of days.
But I think that's the beauty of it. It's like, it's good to have a general direction of, where you see it going. But actually, it's never going to be like a perfection of exactly how you envisage it.
Yes, and it's like a movable feast.
It's a movable feast. It's dynamic. It's constantly changing. One year, one bit might be not quite how you want it because it's overgrazed or undergrazed, or maybe it's been warmer, wetter weather, so things have grown more than you would have hoped. That meant that the what?
About to get in the middle of a horse politics.
That maybe there's not so many wild flowers because the grasses have come up quicker. So every year is going to be, like you say, a movable feast where it's dynamic and changing, and that's what's the beauty of it, because you've got this site that's sort of just about large enough to kind of have that.
Yeah, and it's
diversity going on.
I think
on.
Large enough, and also taking into account also climate change. Like Asturias is really being affected by climate change. next week on my phone it's saying it's going to be 28 on Wednesday and Thursday in June, beginning of June. And I'm sure if you look at records and older Asturian people, 28 degrees in northern Spain is not normal. So it's also taking that into balance. We've got to adapt to that.
And the wildlife's going to have to adapt to that as well,
Yeah.
So the fact that you've got this diversity of habitat will help the wildlife, because it's going to be loads of different little niches for, different species to find somewhere to be able to survive during those unusual weather events.
And these guys really benefit from that in terms of the livestock, having these really shady bits in that heat. So I leave bits open so they can return back on themselves. But I probably am going to move these guys on Monday, but then come Wednesday when it's heating up again, I'm going to move them again where I know they've got lots of tree cover for them to help, because they'll be less stressed and they'll be chilled, or just open it up so they can get through as well.
It's a big game of chess, really, isn't it? You're constantly moving them around where you feel like they need to be, or where's best for them.
Yes.
And also where's best for you for the habitat management side of things. So
I think that's the big thing. So when I'm looking and I'm thinking why are the redback shrikes not here this year? And I think we've spoken about that. I think undergrazing obviously isn't spoken about enough, perhaps, and I think I have such a fear of overgrazing that I've ended up undergrazing, and that's affected other species. And I'm sure some species have benefited from that undergrazing, but then some species have clearly moved on or don't find it as optimum. But it's interesting saying that, because we've seen shrike in the top of this tree, but I haven't seen shrike where we're stood right now. But this looks perfect from what we've been discussing. That nice bramble pillow. And they can come down and feed, but then I guess we can't really see many insects in this spot right now, but it's a bit overcast.
Yeah, and I think just having that kind of nice sort of patchwork of different things going on is an important thing, and having this, moving herds is going to create that.
Yes.
And all the opportunities that come with it. So you obviously got the ponies, so the cattle are just around the corner. So what differences do these different types of animals bring to the table? Why have you got ponies and cattle?
Firstly, they graze in two different ways. So when we can see these guys, they really are, cutting right down to almost the soil, right, with their teeth, and the way they're grazing. And the cattle are more, and I don't know if the horses are more, I don't know who's more selective. I think they probably eat. I see the horses eating more of gorse, bramble, sometimes nibbling on bracken more, but they don't smash. So it's not just about the browsing, it's also about just how they behave. So I guess even though these are hardy horses, they're a bit softer than the cattle. The cattle are bulldozers. If they want to get and they see something yummy, they will pile through, and I can use them to pile through. So in winter I can take in hay that we've cut in small bales, and I can unfortunately pile through and not get spiked too much, and spread hay or dump it in the middle of scrub, and the cattle will follow. The horses won't follow so much.
And that encourages them to go into that area where they perhaps
and they'll hang out, and then they'll be like, oh, actually there's some yummy stuff here, and sometimes you have to take them. I took them out the back here the other day, and they were suddenly like, oh, this is thanks for bringing us here, this is really good. And they stayed there for half a day, and then they moved back down to favoured spots. But it's just the impact, especially around the ponds. Obviously the cattle are much heavier than the horses, and their feet make more puddles, so to speak. Dung as well. I mean, these have already been hit quite hard, these dung pets. But we have quite an active boar and badger population over this side, so we can walk over there and try and see if we can see some more. But most of these have been flipped already and torn apart by badgers. So it's really interesting, once you cross across, even though we have got dung beetles, dung doesn't really last here anyway, because of the mammalian species, I'd say, more than the insects. But then, I guess the mammalian species are going for the insects that have hit it quickly. But it's just interesting, if you kind of did a study on the poo here, this might last 48 hours, but over there it might last a week, or you might even be able to find the odd pile that's undisturbed. I always find that interesting.
It's really fascinating, and you're not preemptively treating your animals with wormers, ivermectins or anything like that.
No, so we do fecal counts, and then just looking at their own body condition, you can kind of tell. And the way we look at it is, okay, I've grazed this for 2 weeks, but we move them around, and the rest periods are long enough that there's very little reason for them to have any parasite load, and even just seeing what they're eating. So we do a fecal count once a year, unless they're looking really kind of sketchy, but they aren't, to be honest. I mean, these guys look great.
Yeah.
They all have clean bums. The cows have really clean bums compared to other cows I see around the area.
And the dung pats are full of life.
Exactly.
Yeah, which is amazing.
So I mean, we could worm them if we need to, and we bring them in for that. And then we don't do sacrificial fields or anything like that, which is when you can worm them and put them out on a spot and say, well, that's going to be ours. And we keep them in the whole time. So that none of that but we haven't had to do it with the cows at all. We had to do it with one horse last year, but it was more kind of preemptive because the vet suggested it, but I think it was fine, to be honest. And then actually when we'd done fecal counts, it came out absolutely nothing pre.
Oh really?
So,
wow. Okay.
yeah, so it's just one of those things that sometimes you should go with your your gut.
Go with your gut.
But as
There's
in,
a reason for
I
that
shouldn't.
saying.
I mean, I was listening to the vet, and they're a very good vet, but I shouldn't. Perhaps I should have thought, no, that's not the reason. I don't know what it was. I think they were just a bit peaky, and it wasn't
Yeah.
anything to do with.
Well, that's all, you
parasites.
put it all down to learning, don't you? Because like now you know in the future if they're looking good, and perhaps the vet says, "Oh, maybe you should," and be like, "Well, maybe let's see what happens and
Yes.
not do it." And all of this, you know, how many years you been here now?
Yes, it's going into our seventh year.
Seventh year.
year.
You know, all of this has been a huge learning curve for you, and you'd admit that, wouldn't you?
Oh, for sure.
Well, you
And
know-
even just like behaviour, I've gone from Katie grew up with horses to an extent, but kept in a very different way. You know, the classic English way. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but in a crappy paddock. Like when you go
Yeah.
to the UK, it's kind of bonkers how people keep them. You know, and the grass is so short, and no wonder they have to be sprayed and treated with everything because the life they're living is completely unnatural. Whereas these guys live a very wild life. And kind of can self-medicate. And why are you being like that? So Panchito is.
Oh, some biting.
Oh,
Wow.
ouch.
Frisky
Yeah,
times.
weird. It's funny though, isn't it? Like no real reason, as long as you don't get caught in the middle of it. But this leads me on quite nicely. So yeah, I had no real experience with livestock at all. And now, I spend a lot of time hanging out with horses and cattle. And I just love doing what we're doing here, just watching the kind of dynamics, the behaviour, what they're feeding on. I always find it really interesting. We haven't gone over there, but it's like our furthest block, which now technically does join up with Wild Finca because we've acquired the land in between us, which is the forest, but it's much more wooded. So it's like this, but so these blocks is woodland, and when they go in the woodland and see what they're feeding on in there and rubbing on the tree, like the behaviour changes again. So the animals' behaviour changes where they are.
That must be so good for their guts, like having that diversity of different plant matter.
Yeah, and then
different
stuff that you
species.
look at that thinks it's always very strange. So here, yew is planted quite a lot around. Like we've got 2 over there, but it's also native. But it's I think there's some like historical cultural reason. I can't remember what it is. Anyway, the farmers cut the yew, so it's protected, so you can't cut it down. But the farmers cut like the lower, I guess, browse line to not a giraffe height, but higher than a cow, higher than a horse. And I always find it funny because I don't do that, and maybe I live to regret it, but I've never seen them feed on the yew because I think they know, and the only reason they would feed us is so. But then they're saying that there's lots of stuff that technically is poisonous that I do see them eat. You know, there's like a laurel hedge around the corner alongside the road, and every time I move the cattle, I can't get the cattle past it. The cattle feed on it, and I assume that's someone's self-medication. I think there's a cyanide or something. There's something in laurel. But every time they really go for it.
Yeah.
You know, not lots, but they really go for like 6-10 big mouthfuls and chew and keep going, and then they keep going. And they do it every time. They've been doing that for 3 years. They haven't died.
So maybe little and often's okay.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, they're not browsing on the bush but it's you're walking past and they're like, oh, that's yummy.
Yeah.
And they really go for it. Haze. I mean, there's been studies, right? I think in terms of reduced amount of bovine tuberculosis in cattle that have been feeding on hazel, and you can see here this hazel has a very obvious browse line. But then sometimes they don't touch other bits at all, so they really do know what they want. I guess it's like us. My mum always used to say, and I think she said this because I said once that I really fancied green peas when I was young. So I don't know, but she said if you fancy something, it means your body needs it.
Yeah.
She also regretted saying that, I think, because then I was like, oh, I
Got away
fancy
with
ice cream or
sweets.
whatever. Yeah, and she didn't really know what to say.
I fancy sweets.
But I think it's the same, right? Like when you do fancy something, and I guess that's the same with the animals, right? I mean,
They know what
I
they
thought he was
want,
about
don't
to
they?
go for some bracken, but like, these guys every now and again I see them go into the bracken and just again take a little nibble and then keep going, but never like eat. They don't graze on it. It really is like 5 mouthfuls of bracken and they keep going. So
It's got to be something in it. Right, shall we go up and see the cattle?
yeah, we should.
Yeah. So I think you said one of them's expecting.
Yeah, we'll see. She's going to give birth any day now. I'm just going to go turn off the water over
okay,
here.
nice one.
Yeah, so just give that one a wider berth.
So is that the
She's
one that's expecting?
pregnant, yeah. Hello, dude. Where's your mum?
So we've just walked into a lovely little opening. There's a couple of heifers and a little calf. He's very cute.
Yeah.
And they're beautiful kind of light brown colour with white around their eyes and muzzles, and cool sort of white horns with black on the tips. They're very beautiful cattle, aren't they?
Yeah, they are very pretty. They're like a Jersey, I always say.
Yeah,
a
just
Jersey
like a
with
Jersey.
horns.
Yeah.
Very big eyelashes. And
Oh.
yeah, very gentle. Normally very gentle. So we'll see what happens here, because the one sat over there, as you can see, she's very rotund. She's going to. Her udders have really filled up. Hey, girl.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good girl. Less agent, but should always be cautious around horned cows. But yeah, so she's actually been giving her a bit the horse. So the horse has just come in amongst it.
Yeah.
And the horses are definitely the bosses. But
Oh,
the
really?
other day, so Cherry there. I mean, she's got. I mean, look at that. I mean, that might be why she stayed down. She's June the 28th is the latest she'll give birth. That's when the bull left.
What date are we now?
June the 8th
or something. Yeah.
So, but yeah, it'll be her first calf. And then you clearly aren't pregnant, so this is Bramble. But she, it doesn't look rotund at all. She just looks about right. And then Ivy hiding in the brambles over there.
Oh,
this is her calf behind us.
Oh, lovely.
So he was born in March. So he's already pretty big.
He's beautiful, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's getting the real colour. So you see that really dark
it's
around the neck.
like gingery kind of rufusy.
Yeah, so he's a very pretty bull.
He's beautiful.
But we won't keep him, unfortunately. We're not going to have bulls on site. That's the decision we've made. Well, we'll have bulls on site to breed them. We borrow a bull. But we aren't going to have bulls full-time on site. It's just not worth it with the kids and walking around and stuff. I mean, they're pretty chill. But yeah, it's not something we want to. So unfortunately, he won't be staying. But what we were hoping for was everyone would give birth to girls. Because it's very hard to get cows like these guys that we've basically trained to be Wild Finca cows. So they're pretty, we're stood, 2 foot away from her. And hopefully she's not going to shove her horn into me. And they haven't done that. But yeah, it's very hard to get cattle like that. And obviously the cost-wise as well. So ideally we thought, well, if we can breed from them and get 2 more girls that are born and grow up here. But unfortunately our first Wild Finca calf was a bull. If he is very handsome.
One at that.
Yes.
So he'll hang around for a few months, do a bit of grazing. Like, so he's on solids now, so he's doing a bit of grazing,
so
joining in with
I don't know how much impact he makes, but he's looking pretty chunky.
Yeah, he's looking lovely.
But it looks like he might be about to be a bit cheeky towards us, which would be interesting.
He's gone all frisky.
Yeah, he's very frisky. It's very interesting. So normally, I mean, funny.
And so
and he's got his little horns coming through now as well, so it's a bit more.
And the idea would be like to grow your herd very slightly by adding, obviously, hopefully
another female,
another
and then
female.
we'll see. Like we're like I said, we're not a farm. We're an unofficial nature reserve, let's say. So it's not for beef or anything like that. It's just their lawnmowers.
Yeah. And you just feel like you could do with having an extra pair.
I think we could do with definitely a few
something.
mouths, but again, we can see, which is another reason why I don't want to buy some cows. I don't want to make that investment of having to buy and then sell them again. Whereas if we have calves, it's more of like a gradual increase with us, which I think he's just trying his luck, isn't he?
Yeah, he's kind of
like, he's like,
I'm
not going to
up,
look
like
at them.
he's going to sort of like go all frisky, and he's like, oh no, I'm just over here.
Yeah, just scratching my shin. But yeah, I mean, for us, we really have seen a positive impact since we got the cattle. So we had 2, and then now we have 3. Well, we had 4 technically with him. When he was first born, we did have 4. Unfortunately, we had to sell her because she was too aggressive. So that's why we're being quite sensible on that side of things. We can't have cattle like that on site. So she was sold. But yeah, like I say, they're really good at bulldozing, making these paths. In fact, where his mum's just gone, I mean, we'll leave her to it. We can go and check where she's gone there. There's this giant, what is that? 8 metre wide bramble patch by 3.5 metres tall by probably 4 or 5 metres wide. I'll just move myself between you and him just in case.
He's really being super cheeky.
Very cheeky.
I kind of like it though. He's got character.
Well, he has got balls. But yeah, so there's a path through the back there, which I think his mum's just headed through, which is pretty. That's the horses never do that. What she's doing, they won't go down like narrow pathways. So just by having the cattle and opening up those bits, and if we walk over here, because we'll just make space as well, because Cherry's coming through.
Oh, yeah.
Good girl. Yeah, look at when you see her head on, she's like a barrel. There you go.
Definitely.
And if you go side on, her udders are I mean they're young, but they're filling up. They got milk in, so.
Exciting times.
Hopefully, yeah, we'll see. I mean, last time it wasn't a surprise. I knew Ivy was going to give birth, but I came up here and it's quite nice to. I mean, obviously this afternoon they've come down here, but if they're not here, I can call for them and they'll come to me. And they didn't come, and I was like, oh, that's odd. And I went up, and there she was licking this new calf, and all the other cows were around. To kind of check
that's
out
so
the calf.
lovely.
It was really cool. But anyway, so you've got these bits behind us here. You've got these little bits. So in winter, sometimes I do my own scrab bashing. Mm-hmm. So I bashed into here. So this was all out, kind of like a metre and a half high coming out. I bashed into these bits, and we can go and see. So this is where I do like the bale grazing and drop some hay into it.
And this is like where...
and they've come in here, right, and grazed. Yeah. Someone's dug around there, so there's a bit of open soil, but they've grazed here. So yeah, the bramble is coming back, but it's opened up, brought in that light.
Yeah.
And then there's grass coming through, the same on the other side. So these bits just to basically make it,
just
I guess,
encourage
more,
a bit more
messy fringes, but like open bits. Again, the cattle are forcing through over here, into that field, so you've got these little tunnels through into the next bit. And here as well.
It's kind of like thinking about sort of like the intervention as well, and talking about rewilding and thinking about, being very hands off, and obviously a lot of rewilding projects are, but also showing that you can be hands on and it's okay to intervene.
You could look at it two ways in terms of like, I think the big thing with rewilding, or whatever you want to call it, is that humans are part of it. I think a lot of people say, oh, no, humans don't need to be part of the thing, or shouldn't be. Well, that's not true, really, because humans, we are animals. We've been around for quite a few years now. Even if you go really far back, we were kind of hunter-gatherers. We were burning land. We were clearing land to like grow crops and stuff like that. We have been around, and I don't do anything too drastic, but also, so me cutting into it or disturbing it a bit isn't, okay, I'm using a strimmer in winter. I only ever do it in winter.
I think one of your neighbours is using a strimmer as well.
It's a bit of an Asturian obsession, unfortunately. But so basically I do a bit of it, but also because we're small scale, I've got to do that at the moment. I'm hoping it's going to reduce, but because we don't have the heads of livestock that can do that disturbance, I guess if we had way more cattle, maybe it'd be less work for me. But the minute, if I can open up those bits, then the cattle go in, like here, over here, I opened up round the back, which just brambled up a bit. And they still don't go up there really regularly. But if I go round, opening it, 1.5 metre, 2 metre wide path, and then they're like, oh, we can access this. And they don't hit it hard, but they go in and just browse. And like I say, the horses sometimes follow the cows, but the cattle definitely go in and do that. This bit over here, it keeps it kind of in flux, I guess, as opposed to, if I didn't, I don't know. I mean, this is really nice here because this was all bramble, and you can see there is still some bramble, but all this blackthorn that's coming through, I guess, because the bramble has protected it.
Yeah.
And now the bramble's died back, and you've got this really, I mean, we're not going to shove our arm in there, but blackthorn is nice, spiky, and then it builds up into this hazel. Yeah. Then there's hawthorn behind this, and then it goes up into that like grasshopper warbler zone.
So it's a nice edge, isn't it? Nice sort of movement from one habitat to another, and all the lovely bits
and the longer
in between.
grass. And another 6 weeks. This last year, these areas here were full of wasp spiders. Like you lost count just walking along. It'd be like wasp spider, wasp spider, wasp spider, wasp spider. Amazing. Every single one of these, I know what you call them, little pockets.
Have a good grasshopper population. So that's what they feed on, isn't it?
And then this is one. There was no water over here, so there's the trough I've just filled up, which is obviously a man-made thing, which is more, there's no water. And then this is a clay lined pond. But as you can see, I mean, my cows aren't helping that much. I think that's why it keeps draining.
Yes, yeah.
So I've got a hose into it connected to a pump. There's clay in here. But it's not my best work.
That's where finches come and drink.
Yeah,
from here
well, it looks cool, I think. But it's very fresh. I mean, I only did this in February. But I think what I am going to have to do this winter is probably put in another one behind us here. Because I've started doing like twin ponds. And this I will probably do a more heavy duty liner. So it's a more kind of permanent pond. And then this is here as well. But yes, I think big, heavy cattle stepping in it. But the fact they're stepping in it, they clearly, I mean, the horses came rushing over for that water, but they clearly have been drinking here as well.
They're just being dramatic.
Yeah, picky. They just want the trough.
What's that cricket we can hear behind? Is that a field cricket?
I just started up, yeah, I think so.
Could be a tree cricket.
I just go Spanish on this, and I call them grillos. That's what they're called in Spanish. That's like the all.
I think their scientific name is
Grillos.
Yeah, Grillos campestris. It's a field cricket. It's a lovely sound, isn't it?
I love it. Yeah,
it's
one of
being
those things.
Holiday.
Yeah, it's funny because growing up where I grew up, like it wasn't even a sound for me.
Yeah.
Like it's not a UK sound, even though I know there are some places where you get it. There are some places you get it, but here, like it's the norm, so to speak. So it's quite cool because I know it's been lost in the UK in some areas, but here this is kind of the norm, and these guys go to like October and another few weeks when it warms up, and it's quite interesting to follow how they behave. So like the south side of our village, the other side of us, when I drop the boys off to school or come, they start kind of 2-3 weeks earlier than here because of that real south face. It warms up a lot quicker, I guess.
Oh, cool.
And then so when you start hearing them the other side of the village that they're going to come here any day now.
Soon. That's very
and then
exciting.
they kick off, and then there are some evenings where you just sit down at the top and it's like a proper orchestra of them just going for it in the evening. So you've got nightjar, crickets, grasshopper warbler, everything all going for it at once.
We're just walking up onto a lovely sort of rocky mound, which just feels like a little slice of a mountain meadow. It's beautiful. So we've got, what have we got? We've got thyme.
Wild thyme underneath.
Wild thyme. We're having a wild time.
Yeah, kidney vetch.
A kidney vetch. And
scabious, viper's bug loss. I think this is dwarf gorse. Is it twin spotted rock rose, bird's foot trefoil, irises. Bit of gorse, but you can see where they've grazed it. Mediterranean buckthorn, and then there's a Pyrenean lily. You see, coming up in there.
That's really cool.
We saw
structure.
one in flower earlier, but that's coming into.
Looks like a old-fashioned street light with a flower hanging down either side.
Yeah, and then hazel, lime. Really love it. It's very good for. It's got very good for autumn's ladies' tresses, as well. Oh, another Pyrenean lily here coming up.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's not. What is that?
Is it century?
Little pink.
Yeah, that's century.
But it lower down, it looks like Pyrenean lily, and then it turns into.
The leaves look similar
at the top. Again, I mean that's why I love it. We keep saying it's so. We've just walked through like a scrubby, grassy bit, and then you come up into this limestone outcrop.
It's beautiful.
And I think again for their there's horse poo there, so they are coming through. They don't hit it as much. I have lost the cows before and looked everywhere for them and think, they've escaped. And there's like a bowl over the top here that they love when it's really hot that they go through, because here you can kind of track them more or less, but once they hit the rocky bit you can't unless there's really fresh poo. And normally, like I say, when I shout they come, and I shouted they're not here, and Katie went out in the car and drove to the next village. I went right up onto the top of that mountain, and it wasn't until I got like a view, I couldn't see them from there. I think I got up here scanning with the binoculars, and then I saw them. You guys, they were here all along. It's like
just playing with you.
Yeah. But it's a really nice spot. And there's a badger set in here somewhere, but I think they don't have to burrow so much because of the limestone. There must be natural caves. It's really nice, and lots of hazel.
It's a really nice spot with that mountain backdrop as well. So lovely. So something really exciting's just happened. We are outside on our.
Nightjars just landed on here.
Oh, has it? Everything's happening at once. So
in the scope,
it's 10:30 at night. We're sitting out on the picnic mound, and we've just spotted a barn owl whiz past. And this is particularly exciting, isn't it, Katie? Because until recently you thought there weren't any.
No, well, it was out. Yeah, it was back in February that we kind of spotted out the window this like white patch directly beneath the barn owl box. We went over and it was just an explosion of feathers, and kind of detective hat on Luke. He said, "No, that's been taken by a bird. That's what's happened to that." And anyway, we guessed it was an eagle owl. Anyway, I'm going to let Luke tell the eagle owl story because.
And I'm going to come back to you in a minute because.
And then come back to me in a minute. Yeah.
So basically, leading on from what Katie said, so there was an explosion of feathers. We've heard eagle owl on and off here for the last 4 years, probably, but in winter. And then this past winter, so around February actually, we heard them a lot and duetting. So
could you do an impression of that? Luke,
if
for
you
example?
insist, Penny, if you insist.
What's a male sound like?
So they've got like almost like a booming bittern. So like the male does this. Well, I assume it's the male. I don't know on the sexes, but they do this like. Hang on. I don't want to do it too loud in case it comes and like attacks
Okay,
me.
I'm going to stand back.
Oh look, Nightjar above us.
Oh my god, look at that. Oh my.
Go wing clap.
Wow, that's so cool.
It's so cute.
It's all right.
You're so, Anyway, so it's kind of like that.
That's so
And
good.
so they'd do the whoo, that, and then there'd be like a woo back, like almost like twit-twoo, like tawnies, but more like heavy. Anyway, so we're like, wow, it's a pair. And then it was like this running joke. So there's only like 2 other birders here in this area, and they were just like, they'd go up on the road where we were hearing it from, or where we were hearing it here, where we're sat right now. But they'd go up there, and then of course it wouldn't cool. And this went on for like 4 or 5 nights, where like I'd be like, it's cooling, and they'd drive up there, and they wouldn't. They'd be like, Luke, give it a rest. And then finally one of them went up and heard it, and I heard it, and we're like, oh, that's cool, it's eagle owls. Anyway, and then they went quiet, and then February barn owl death happened. And then last week, I went for coffee with both of them actually, and I said, "Oh, it's funny, isn't it? Like we heard those eagle owls eventually, and but nothing since." And then the barn owl, and they're like, "Yeah, but like, well, let's head up and look at the vulture nests up there as well." I couldn't go, so my friend went up there, and then I get this phone call, and he's like, "I'm looking at an eagle owl." So I get in the car very quickly, run up there or drive up there, and yeah, there's an adult eagle owl perched on the cliff. So we're like, "Oh, that's cool." But maybe it's not a nest, but it's perched like in this tiny little cave. So the next day me and him went up, and we found loads of prey remains. So we found hedgehog, numerous different crows, red-billed chough, buzzard, kestrel, magpie, and 2 different barn owls.
Wow.
So we were like, oh, well, that's, the barn owl mystery solved.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it was like,
And we had a second barn owl, but then we hadn't seen it for ages, so we just assumed.
I mean, this time of year, normally,
Yeah.
you'd be like May, June, you'd be hearing them almost constantly, especially even with the chicks. We've heard nothing. We haven't seen any sign of them at all. That barn owl that we literally just saw with you, 2
Oh, so there you
minutes
go.
ago.
The big reveal.
No, Penny did just say that at the
Oh,
beginning.
did you?
Yeah,
I
Said
missed
a
that
bargain.
bit. I'm sorry. Oh, the reveal already happened. Sorry. So, well, no, because
Pay
I was going to say,
attention.
like, we were quite sad about not having barn owls. That's become a bit of a kind of conversation for us about this is insane that we have this eagle owl living literally like overlooking Wild Finca. How incredible, because it's what the second recorded.
Oh, well, so now that is the big reveal.
All
so,
right.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's why I said it
So,
slowly, because I
yeah.
can't remember the statistic.
Yeah, so the prey items, and the fact the prey items are all in the same place led us to believe that, if it was an adult eagle owl, it would just kill it like our barn owl in February. It would just come and kill it here, eat it here, and then anyway, so we were like, oh, so it's a nest. That's interesting. So next morning I go up again with the scope, and as soon as I get out of the car, there's crows. But it's like 6 o'clock in the morning, like pre-dawn. You can hardly see, but I get the scope on like where the crow's sound's coming from, and see luckily a crow breaking the horizon, so I can at least see it dive bombing something. And then I was like, oh, it's an adult eagle owl. Okay, cool. And then the adult eagle owl takes off, and I follow it to the cave, and 2 chicks come out, and it feeds 2 chicks. So yeah, so we've got an eagle owl nest that, as you've seen today, because we've seen the chicks, we can actually watch the nest from here. We don't have to go all the way up there. Look at that nightjar.
We were going to talk about how the fact that you've lost the barn owl but gained an eagle owl is like a bittersweet
Massively.
kind of like, wow, what an amazing thing to have this apex predator, like the king of the castle, the king of the mountain right next to you.
Yeah.
But then at the same time you've lost your beloved barn owl, but we haven't.
No, we haven't.
For the time being.
We might have lost 1 or 2, but you've still got 1, which is good.
Still got one, it just flew over.
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
So, I mean,
Yeah, I'd been quite sad about it. I really had. And, we put the barn owl boxes up, and then they moved in, or one moved in, and then another one. They haven't actually bred here as far
they
as we
definitely overwintering
know.
them.
Yeah, and we've had school groups here recently, and we've been dissecting owl pellets with them. When we have family groups here, we dissect. So we'd really kind of got to know them quite well.
Yeah.
So it was quite. I was quite upset
And
about
in terms
it.
of like killer species, as in not just killer as in awesome, but as in like killing things species. You know, eagle is even above golden eagle, which we have locally. You know, eagle owls really do affect that local kind of. I mean, look at that. They ate barn owls, buzzards, kestrels. They kind of kill everything. So it's interesting what kind of impact that will have. But I mean, it's great that, you know, we've just seen a barn owl, because it's great to have that like full suite of species. Maybe that barn owl won't still be flying around tomorrow night. Who knows? Because we've just seen the eagle owl
running the gauntlet down there.
Yeah. But it's really interesting, and you know, like we've got that species in. We've now got wolf above us on Sueve, which is 2 kilometres away. So you know, these species are coming back. So yeah, the eagle owl is the second. I'm sure there are more nests. It's more down to recording as opposed for the lack, but it's the second confirmed eagle owl nest in the last 50 years in Asturias.
That's amazing.
So that's pretty cool that they're here. The wolves around the corner. So in terms of Wild Finca's future, not only what we were talking about earlier is like we're kind of feeling our way and things change, and do we do certain things wrong, do we do certain things right, which we know there's this constant change. The weather, climate change is changing, but the species are changing. You know, we have nothing to do with that eagle owl coming back, but it's come back. Wolves have come back up the hill. They're probably going to start affecting us if they survive in the next year, 18 months, I would assume. If they breed, and their pups will for sure be coming down here. So it's not even bittersweet. For me, it's not bittersweet. It's very exciting. We want to be part of the natural world.
It's amazing. I mean, just like to think about these like amazing predators that are in this landscape around you, and you're getting to experience that firsthand, living here.
SR gives a real. I mean, even when we're up in the Picos, you know, and there's bear and wolf, there's always a very special feeling, knowing even if you don't see them. But now the fact it's getting to the point that we don't even have to go into the Picos. Like we're here, where we're stood now.
Our back door.
You know, last time you came here, we didn't have eagle owl, we didn't have wolf.
And you were saying like wolf might be 20 years away. Yes. You know, it's nuts.
So now we have.
We've just got some mental
wolf.
barriers we have to overcome to ensure that they remain.
We don't have the mental barriers.
No, we don't. No, we're like, come, welcome. The door is open. Yeah.
But yes.
But our neighbour doesn't think that.
But that's where like your influence, whereby having your children visit, you know, your groups of children come and visit here. They are the next generation of farmer potentially for this area. So if you get them excited about having that wildlife in the landscape and actually living and breathing it here and feeling that excitement, that's like half the battle, isn't it?
It's the only battle we're taking on, I think, as in kind of, you know, educating at that level. And,
which is a brilliant thing.
Yeah.
Super duper. Well, it's been the most magical evening here, and we've just been hearing the Nightjar sort of churring away in the background as we've been speaking. We've had the Grasshopper Warbler this evening as well. We've seen a barn owl, we've seen an eagle owl. Oh man, this place is awesome. It's even better than it was when we visited a couple of years ago. So good. So we wish you all the best with your future endeavours here, because it is a dynamic, beautiful landscape, and you guys are doing the most amazing thing here. And can't wait to see how it progresses over the next couple of years. Looking forward to coming back and visiting again.
What are we going to show you next time,
Oh my goodness.
There'll be bear cubs frolicking.
The challenge is on, isn't it? The challenge is on. It's been special.
It has been lovely. Yeah. Anyway, I think it's nearly bedtime.
Yeah.
Go to sleep with the thought of wolves and eagle owls.
Not bad.
So good. Oh. Take care, guys. Look after yourselves. And this place is amazing. I really hope you've enjoyed this episode and transporting yourself to the Asturian mountains. Don't forget to check out Katie's fab book, which is called No Paradise with Wolves, and do take a look at their website, wildfinca.com. Thank you, Katie and Luke, for making us so welcome, and we're looking forward to coming back before long. As always, thanks go to Matt Davidson for his fantastic music and Katie Bolton for the wonderful artwork. Tune in again soon for the next episode, but in the meantime, make sure you get outside with a friend to share some wildlife adventures too. Thanks to Leica for sponsoring the Wandering Ecologist podcast. I've been a Leica user since the very beginning. Whether I'm monitoring stone curlews or barn owls or conducting a dragonfly survey, I rely on their precision. With over 120 years of crafting premium optics, Leica brings exceptional clarity even in low light. The close focusing range reveals fine details others miss, and the rugged waterproof design means they keep going, whatever the weather. German engineering trusted in the field, and craftsmanship I can count on.